The Internet is defined as a global network of linked computers, servers, phones, and smart appliances that communicate with each other using the Transmission Control Protocol, TCP, standard to enable the fast exchange of information and files, along with other types of services. The Internet is a global network of interconnected computers, servers, phones, and smart appliances that communicate with each other using the Transmission Control Protocol, TCP, standard to enable a fast exchange of information and files, along with other types of services. The Internet is a global hub of computer networks, a network of connections wherein users at any workstation may, with authorization, receive data from every other system, and often interact with users working on other computers. Internet infrastructure comprises optical fiber data transmission cables or copper wires, as well as numerous additional networking infrastructures, such as local area networks, LAN, wide area networks, WAN, metropolitan area networks, MAN, etc. Sometimes wireless services such as 4G and 5G or Wi-Fi necessitate similar physical cable installations for Internet access. Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN, in the United States controls the Internet and its associated technologies, such as IP addresses. The Internet was first envisioned in the form of ARPANET by the Advanced Research Projects Agency, ARPA, of the U.S. government in 1969. The initial goal was to create a network that would enable users of a research computer at one institution to communicate with research computers at another institution. Since communications can be sent or diverted across several directions, ARPANET could continue to operate even if a military strike or any other calamity damages portions of the network. ARPANET used the new packet switching technology to create low-cost, interactive interactions between computers, which generally communicate in short data bursts. Packet switching broke down large transmissions, or portions of computer data, into smaller, more manageable parts, called packets, that could travel independently across any accessible circuit to the destination where they were reassembled. Consequently, unlike conventional voice services, packet switching doesn't require a separate dedicated connection between a pair of users. In the 1970s, corporate packet networks were launched, although their primary purpose was to enable efficient access to distant computers through specialized terminals. They replaced expensive long-distance modem connections with virtual lines via packet networks. Today, the Internet is a globally accessible, collaborative, and self-sustaining public resource available to tens of millions of individuals. Countless people utilize it as their primary source of data consumption, spurring the development and expansion of their own community through social networking and content exchange. However, private versions of the Internet do exist, which are primarily used by large organizations for secure and regulated information exchange. The Internet is a vast, interconnected network of computers and other network-enabled devices, which is globally available. The Internet is an international service with universal access. People living in isolated areas of an archipelago or even in the depths of Africa can now access the Internet. Easy to use, the software used to connect to the Internet, web browser, is user-friendly and easy to understand. It's also relatively easy to create. Compatible with other types of media, the Internet provides a high level of engagement with photos and videos, among other media. Affordable, Internet service development, as well as maintenance costs, are modest. Flexible, Internet-based communication is highly adaptable. It supports text, audio, and video communication. These services are available at both individual and organizational levels. The Internet delivers different types of information and media across network devices. It operates using an Internet protocol, IP, and a Transport Control Protocol, TCP, packet routing network. Whenever you visit a website, your computer or mobile device requests the server using such protocols. A server is where web pages are stored, and it functions similarly to the hard drive of a computer, except with far greater processing power. The server accesses the web page and delivers the right information to your computer whenever the request arrives. This is broadly the end-to-end user experience. Let us now look at the more technical details of how the Internet works. 1. Connecting computers. The basic foundation of the Internet is an interconnected network of computers. When two computers interact, they must be physically, often via an Ethernet connection, or wirelessly connected, via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. All modern systems can support any of these connections to establish a core network. 2. Scaling computer networks. The computer network, as described above, is not restricted to two PCs. One can link several computers. However, as you expand, it may get more complex. Every machine on a network is connected to a tiny computing device known as a router to address this problem. This router's only function is to operate as a signaler. It ensures that a message transmitted from a particular computer reaches its intended recipient. With the addition of a router, a system of 10 computers needs merely 10 wires instead of 10 times 10 equals 100 connections. 3. Enabling infinite scaling. Let us now discuss interconnecting hundreds of thousands to billions of machines. A single router cannot scale to that extent. Nonetheless, a router is an independently programmable computer unit. This implies that two or more routers may be connected, enabling infinite scaling. 4. Utilizing ubiquitous public infrastructure via a modem. By now, we have constructed a network identical to the Internet, although it is only intended for individual use and cannot connect with the outside world. This is where public infrastructure comes in. The telephone system links an office to everyone worldwide, making it the ideal wiring configuration for the Internet. A modem is necessary for connecting networks to the telephone system. This modem converts data from a network into data that can be managed by the telephony architecture and vice versa. 5. Sending messages from one network to another. The following step is to transmit the information from your network to the target network. To accomplish this, the network must establish a connection with an Internet Service Provider, ISP. An ISP is a service that administers specified routers that are interconnected and also have access to the routers of other ISPs. Therefore, the data from the host network is delivered to the target network via the web of ISP networks. To deliver a message to a system, it is important to identify which computer it should be sent to. Therefore, every machine connected to a network has a unique identifying address known as an IP address. Here, IP refers to Internet Protocol. It is an address consisting of 4 integers separated by periods, such as 192.168.2.10. There are several versions of IP. Currently, we are in IPv4 and IPv6 iterations, depending on the region. 6. Assigning domain name to IP addresses. IP addresses are intended for computers, but in an infinitely extensible Internet, it would be difficult for people to keep count of an ever-growing number of addresses. To simplify matters, one may designate an IP address with a domain name, a human-readable name. Google.com is an excellent example of this. The domain name is used in conjunction with the IP address 142.250.190.78. Therefore, typing the domain name is the simplest way to access a computer online. 7. Connected the Internet to the web. The Internet is a network architecture that enables millions of machines to communicate with one another. Several of these machines, web servers, can feed web browsers intelligible messages. The web is an application constructed on top of the Internet's infrastructure. It is important to note that additional services, like email, have been developed on top of the Internet. 8. Connecting the Internet to a private intranet or extranet. Intranets are personal and bespoke networks confined to an organization's members. They offer participants a secure gateway to access shared information, collaborate, and communicate. Extranets are quite similar to intranets, except that they enable collaboration and sharing with other businesses. Typically, they are employed to safely and confidentially transmit information to customers and other enterprise stakeholders. Frequently, their functions resemble those of an intranet, file and information sharing, collaboration tools, message boards, etc. Intranets and extranets operate on the same infrastructure and adhere to the same protocols as the Internet. When we discuss the Internet in common parlance, we typically refer to the web, although the two terms are not interchangeable. If the Internet can be understood as a network of highways, then the web will be the network of restaurants, toll booths, gas stations, etc., built along it. The main job of the Internet is to access the web. However, it can perform other tasks like supporting cloud storage on computers, keeping the software as a service, SaaS, apps online, automatically updating the computer's time, etc. On the other hand, the web comprises multiple computers connected to the Internet called clients and servers. Clients are Internet-connected devices of a web user, such as a computer linked to Wi-Fi or a mobile phone, and the online accessing software installed on such systems, generally a web browser. Servers store websites, applications, and their associated data and activities. When a client device requests access to a website, a replica of the web page is received from the server to the client's computer. The web page is then exhibited in the client's web browser. When a user inputs a domain name or uniform resource locator, URL, in the browser, the domain name system, DNS server, is contacted to get the actual IP address of the website server. The browser then transmits an HTTP or HTTPS request message back to the server, asking the server to transmit a copy of the web page to the client. This message and all other data transferred between the client and server are sent via the TCP/IP protocol across your Internet connection. If the server authorizes the client's request, it returns a 200 OK status code. The server then begins transmitting the site's contents to the client as a sequence of data packets. The browser constructs an entire web page from the packets and starts displaying it. This request, response, and information exchange happens via the Internet infrastructure. As mentioned earlier, the Internet can enable various services, not just web access. Some of the key types of Internet services are: 1. Communication services. To exchange data/information among individuals or organizations, the Internet enables communication services. This mainly includes VoIP and video conferencing. Voice over Internet Protocol, VoIP, enables users to place voice calls over the Internet compared to a conventional, or analog, phone connection. Other VoIP services allow you to contact anybody with a mobile number, encompassing long distance, cellular, and even local/international connections. Video conferencing technology enables two or more individuals in separate locations to connect visually and in real time. It includes persons in different places using video-enabled devices and broadcasting real-time speech, video, texts, and slideshows via the Internet. Other communication services based on the Internet include email, Internet Relay Chat, IRC, and listserv, used for asynchronous text communication, instant messaging, and group announcements, respectively. 2. File transfer services. We utilize file transfer to exchange, transmit, or send a document or logical data item among many individuals or computers, both locally and remotely. Data files may comprise documents, videos, photos, text, or PDFs. They may be shared via Internet downloading and uploading. File Transfer Protocol, FTP, is one of the most common Internet protocols used for this purpose. 3. Directory services. A directory service is a collection of software that maintains information about the organization, its customers, or both. Directory services are responsible for mapping network resource names to network addresses. It offers administrators and users transparent access to all network computers, printers, servers, and other devices. It is also an important backend service provider for and by the Internet. Domain Number System, DNS, and Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, LDAP, are the most commonly used directory services. A DNS server stores a map of computer host names and other domain names to IP addresses. LDAP is a collection of open protocols to obtain centralized network access to stored data. It is also a mechanism for cross-platform authentication. See more. What is Web Real-Time Communication, WebRTC? Definition, design, importance, and examples. 4. E-commerce and online transactions. E-commerce allows the customer to purchase a service or product directly from the vendor, at any time or anywhere on the planet. When IBM started offering hardware and software for computers over the Internet, it was one of the first instances of e-commerce. Since then, this service has grown in use tremendously. E-commerce uses the web to enable financial exchanges so that data packets can translate into their real-world monetary equivalents. 5. Services for network management. Network management services are some of the most critical and valuable Internet services for IT administrators. They assist in avoiding, monitoring, diagnosing, and resolving network-related issues. 2 services are mainly used for this purpose: ping and traceroute. The ping utility checks the host machine's availability and the time required to react to any and all Internet Control Message Protocol, ICMP, transmissions. It guarantees that all requests issued by a computer reach the web server without packet loss. In the meantime, the traceroute identifies and displays all potential paths from query to response, as well as the turnaround time for each route. 6. Time services. Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, or Coordinated Universal Time synchronizes computer clocks, UTC. Network Time Protocol, NTP, is an established Internet time service that syncs and adjusts the computer clock accurately to all these standards. All Windows time variants released after Windows 2000 synchronize with an NTP server. NTSec is primarily a secured version of NTP. 7. Search engine services on the web. When users search for a web page through a search engine rather than the domain name, the search engine examines the web crawler's index of all pages. It will study the search phrase and compare it to the database, including how often the search terms appear on a web page, where they appear on the site, whether they appear together, etc. It analyzes this information to determine which websites best fit your search query. The results are then shown in order, with those that best fit the search keyword appearing initially. It is important to note that search engines can accept funds from commercial entities to prioritize their websites in the results of a particular query. This is an advert, and the search engine results will be labeled as such. Internet is an architecture designed to interconnect computers from all around the world. It is also sometimes referred to as the network of networks. This is because the Internet is made up of several smaller networks. Domestic networks, government networks, military networks, etc. are some of the small networks that make the Internet as a whole. It is the work of several repeaters, cables, data centers, network towers, etc. to let the information travel through the connected computers. In this article, we will study the history of the Internet and how has it affected the lives of people. We can track the origin of the Internet back to the 1960s. In the late 1960s, the first ever Internet called the ARPANET, Advanced Research Projects Agency Network, was created. This network adopted the method of packet switching to allow multiple computers to communicate across a single network. This project was led by Robert Taylor and was proposed by Davies and Barn. This shows that the credibility for the invention of the Internet cannot be given to one person. Instead, it includes various scientists and researchers to finally succeed in its making. There might be several instances when you must have heard of the term World Wide Web. Many people confuse it with the Internet. However, both the terms are different. The Internet is the interconnection of computers while the World Wide Web works on the Internet. The web is pages of the information displayed on the Internet. Understand this with a simple example. Think of the Internet as a road connecting several towns and cities, and the houses or shops that come along the way are the information on the web. Another difference is the language. The HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is the language of the World Wide Web. It connects all the documents and files on the web. While the Internet works on a set of rules defined by the IP, Internet Protocol. The data transmitted on it is dealt with by IP. Now you must be thinking, how can we connect millions of devices from all around the world? How can information be reached to several people at the same time? We will clear all your doubts one by one. Although the complete working of the Internet is a bit complicated, still we will understand it through simple steps and examples. Think of the Internet as communication between computers, and there are a set of rules that they have to abide by to speak and listen. It is the work of Internet Protocol that lets us communicate with other computers. The Internet Protocol sets addresses for each connected computer. These are called IP addresses and used to find each other on the network, just like our house addresses. Now the messages/information is broken down and sent in the form of small packets that get reassembled again at the receiving point. These messages cannot get lost as each computer has a unique IP address that is a series of numbers. Now there are several computers on a network, and this might create confusion despite unique addresses. These message transfers are handled by the packet routing network, and this is why a router is required to set up. The transfer control protocol is another system that makes sure no packet is lost or left behind, as it might create a disrupted message at the receiving end. Let us review how the message is transferred. Step #1. Computer 1 sends a message to computer 2 by its IP address. Step #2. The message is broken into small pieces packets. Step #3. The packets are transferred concerning transfer protocol so that the quality is maintained. Step #4. The packets reach computer 2 and are reassembled at their IP address. The Internet works in a way more complicated manner than these few steps, but this might explain its basic working. Now let us study some of the advantages of the Internet. Advantages of Internet. The Internet has become a household name since its easy installation and setup have been introduced. It was first invented for only government and military uses only. But now, it is installed in every house across the world. Let us see how it has been beneficial to us. It has increased the connectivity and the medium of sharing. Earlier it used to take days to send a single letter, but now our loved ones are just a few seconds away. Banking has now become easier. Since the introduction of e-banking platforms, long tiresome waiting lines are a passé. One can now communicate with its bank, transfer money, receive funds, etc., online. E-commerce websites are another great addition to the advantages. One can now show at any point of the day through these online platforms that let the shopper shop conveniently at the comfort of their homes. One can buy clothes, groceries, home items, and much more online. Internet is also a great source of entertainment. One can listen to music, play games, watch videos and movies online without any hassle. Platforms like Torrent, YouTube, Cloud Vibe, Steam, etc. are a great source of movies, videos, music, and games. Social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter have brought the world closer. We can stay connected to our friends and family 24/7 through them. Distance is just a number now. The education system has also revolutionized. This is all possible through the Internet. Any student across the world can attend online classes. Physical presence in the class is no longer a necessity. This has boosted the literacy rate in third world countries. While the Internet may have been a boon to us, it comes with its repercussions as well. It is also a place where several cybercrimes take place. There are several online hackers that are ready to steal people's personal information to benefit themselves. Online stalkers are also scary, can lead to several crimes. Therefore, the use of the Internet should be limited and with all precautions. The Internet is one of the critical pillars of modern civilization. It has helped in globalization, fast-tracked digital transformation in education and healthcare, and made information access truly universal. However, global Internet penetration is yet to reach 100%, and to deliver its benefits worldwide, companies and governments must focus on expanding Internet infrastructure. Thank you for watching this video.